Republican Congressman Gabe Evans is avoiding town halls in his district, where he is likely to get booed and questioned for supporting Medicaid cuts. Evans did appear outside his congressional district today in Denver, where he was booed by protesters organized by a liberal group. And he was questioned about his support for Medicaid cuts by our Marshall Zellinger.
So the question from Marshall was...
Like a teacher repeating the question for all the class to hear, Republican Congressman Gabe Evans needed to listen closely and talk loud enough to overcome protesters who showed up at his news conference about the one big beautiful bill that passed the House last week.
Congressman, how many of the 214,000 on Medicaid in your district are cheats that need to be kicked off?
After repeating my question for all to hear, here's what Evans said.
We went through the answer, Marshall. You got illegal immigrants. You've got people who are ineligible for the program. Those are the ones who will be removed from the program. And then we have 4.8 million people across the country, able-bodied, working-aged adults with no dependents, who have the ability to choose to go to work or school or volunteer part-time in order to keep their Medicaid benefits.
I'm looking for a number in your district who are in those categories.
People who are no longer eligible for Medicaid.
Do you not know the number? That sounds anecdotal.
I'm telling you the number right now. You may not like the answer, but that's the answer. Next question.
Categories of people are not numbers. I did not get an answer. Colorado's Department of Healthcare Policy and Financing reports Medicaid covers 214,218 people in Evans's congressional district, which covers Adams and Weld counties and a sliver of Larimer, with $881 million paid to providers in Congressional District 8. I had a couple more questions to ask, and after the news conference, Evans said he had a hard out at 10 a.m. It was 9:54. When he started walking up the steps of the state capitol.
Congressman, it's not 10 yet. So, how does taking people off Medicaid and into emergency rooms for uncompensated care help medical providers in your district?
Do you want illegal immigrants on Medicaid, Marshall?
I raced a train. I can go up the steps. Asking questions for specific answers and not getting them for you is not great. After the Evans event, Democrats in the state legislature held their own virtual news conference. They're currently planning behind the scenes in case more budget cuts are needed because of Medicaid changes. Evans made a statement about savings to states when people who don't belong on Medicaid are taken off. Democratic State Senator Jeff Bridges, a member of the Joint Budget Committee, said today that the state's health care policy people estimate a double-digit million-dollar cost to the states to administer new Medicaid eligibility verifications.
There's not $57 million worth of health care that's being provided to people who don't qualify for Medicaid, but it will cost us $57 million to comply with these new requirements. That's government waste.
The state's health care policy people told me today that the state is not estimating currently who would lose Medicaid because the bill provisions in Congress continue to change. I was also told statewide there are 377,000 people who receive Medicaid as part of the Affordable Care Act expansion, and at most, around 166,000 might be at risk of losing coverage under the new work requirements. Again, that's statewide, not the question I was asking Evans, specific to Congressional District 8.
Which is interesting because his congressional district has the second highest percentage of Medicaid recipients in the state, surpassed only by Jeff Hurd's district on the Western Slope. Hurd has expressed some hesitancy about these Medicaid cuts, whereas Evans has made it his entire personality. Gabe Evans's political persona right now is cut Medicaid.
You can imagine there are almost 1.2 million people in the state who receive Medicaid, and all 1.2 million may be like, what's going on? And most of them are probably going to be fine because the people who should be worried the most might be the work eligibility ones, perhaps. But you can just imagine 1 in 4 people in Colorado are like, am I going to have health coverage in a few weeks?
Also, this is a side issue. What a freaking circus that was this morning, huh?
I understand and support the First Amendment clearly as a journalist in the protests. It was a bit much, especially when we're trying to get information from them in the question and answer. I just wanted to be able, it was hard because he literally was going up to people and whisper in my ear your question, and that just seemed a little odd.
It's tough. Again, he has an open invitation. We keep asking for him to come in, take questions in a controlled environment. Nobody yelling at him here. Hope he'll avail himself of that. Marshall, thank you.